Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Exhausted Sparrows Unite. I am Krista Jones with my co-host Chantel Schaefer, and so excited as I always am to dig into these episodes because I'm like, I have a good one. Let's be honest. When was the last time that someone said to you, hey, how are you? And you said, fine, while you're really mentally rage texting your therapist. Or maybe you were smiling through your clenched teeth and you were nodding, and then, I don't know, you went into your car and you started crying. Been there, done that, sisters and brothers. I bought the emotional t-shirt, actually, that says it, and Chantelli knows. I got it in 3 different colors. Today, we are talking about the mask that we wear. And I'm not talking about the Halloween mask. I'm talking about the smile that you mask, the actual hurt that you're feeling, the no worries when you're ready to flip a table. I'm talking about the I am tired and I am spiraling, and why today is a great day for us to dive into this podcast. Welcome.
Hello.
If it is your first podcast, what a great way to come in. And if it is not, you're probably feeling right now like, wow, we've reached a boiling point today.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Everything is fine.
It's all fine. You know, this is the podcast that really wants you to embrace your true, authentic self. And through doing it, I am catching myself so much like, oh, I'm supposed to rethink my thinking, like all the time. And so I really go through things that I struggle with. I mean, I know it's a little bit selfish, but you know, in talking about this one to Chantel as we go through our week and what we're going to talk about in the podcast, she was like, oh, this is a good one, because I feel we all relate to this nonsense.
And if you don't, you're lying.
You are lying. You are not a truth teller. You are a little liar. And we don't like little liars.
Nope.
So we're here to delve in and to really get you to dig deep and just say to yourself, there are absolutely times in your life where you are faking it. You are not being honest about how you're really feeling. And I want to talk about that today because that is probably my weakest link. That is probably a trait about myself that is, what would you say, Chantel? It is a very strong trait. It is a hard trait for me. It is a hard habit to break.
It is. And I think your position and your role as the executive director of a charity, like you
Sparrow's Nest of the Hudson Valley.
Find us at sparrowsnestcharity.org. But I think with your position, like you probably feel the need to put on this face and this mask, and you always have to have a front that everything is fine.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely part of it. I think because it is a charity as well, and there are people that are sick. For those of you tuning in, never tuned in before, this is all a spinoff of our charity, which is called Sparrow's Nest of the Hudson Valley in the Hudson Valley, New York, 4 different counties. And we feed people that have a cancer diagnosis. And so, yes, there is absolutely some of that, because compared to what we see, I am fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like I am physically fine. And, you know, my bad days are definitely not comparable to some other people's bad days. And I don't think anybody wants the executive director of a charity that's out there cooking meals and trying to help people, you know, to be out there complaining or falling apart at the seams. And, you know, because I think if you see me falling apart, you're like, uh-oh.
The ship is going down.
It's going down fast. So I do think that that's part of it. But, you know, I really was diving into this because when I started thinking about this topic and stuff and reading a little bit on it, I was like, where does this all come from? Like, I like to dig down to the root of it, because this really is the surface. Like what we're doing here now is the surface, because this doesn't start in the here and now. This starts in childhood. Right? This starts in the moments that, thank goodness my mom and dad never listen to this podcast because they don't know how.
Well, my dad does. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad. But your dad, you know, he will maybe chuckle at this. Maybe he won't. But, you know, I grew up in a family that did not show emotions at all. Like I grew up in a family where like my dad would be like, stop crying.
Oh.
And like as I was like trying to process this and figure out like why I'm fine, it's all fine. Yeah, the executive director charity thing, lays another layer on it. Thank you so much, Jesus. But it starts from a young age, like, use your inside voice. I was told that all the time because, I'm loud and I'm, vivacious and like I'm perky when I wake up at 6 a.m. And like people tell me that all the time, like, can't you be quiet? Or, oh my gosh, it's 6 a.m. Why are you so happy? So like there's a lot of things I think, you hear, or, if you've got a smirk on your face, go to your room. Don't come out until you can be a better person. Like whatever it is. I mean, my parents didn't tell me that, but like, you know what I'm saying? There are things that you are told in your childhood, things that you were told in your schools when you were a kid in school. And, well, go and make up with the girl that just punched you. like it's all fine. And I think that then, carries out into the really messed up, emotionally human being that some of us are today.
Yeah, it gets ingrained in there.
Right. And I think it wires our brains into thinking that expressions are not good. We're supposed to just guard our expressions, and we're always supposed to just have this happy face on. And we've talked about it in another podcast, and just living authentically and the real you. But if we think about it, I was just counting how many times, like staff was saying, I'm fine, like in a day. It's a lot of times.
It is a lot of times. It is. But like you said, we're in an environment where the people around us, their lives aren't fine. And what we're experiencing here is so trivial. I grew up with a sister who's disabled. She is in a wheelchair, cerebral palsy. So anything I ever experienced in life was kind of pushed to the side, because how do you compare, ow, my legs hurt from running the mile, to ow, I'm sitting in a wheelchair, So I get that.
And I think the answer is you don't compare them, but you shouldn't need to, right? Because every human being needs and deserves attention, and, when something's going on. And I when I say things like, I don't want to complain because people have it worse than me, I think you also have to give yourself grace and say, I do want to sit in it for a minute. We've talked about that in other podcasts too. I don't want people to think like they should push things aside because there's always somebody that has it worse, of course. And there's always somebody that has it better. And so this is not like, it's just these crazy emotions. And, you realize that once you start pushing these emotions down, it's really awkward to be honest with them and let them go. Like, I really think if I ever said to you, I'm completely falling apart and I'm spiraling, and if I don't leave, like, I'm going to quit. Like, I think you'd be like, what? Because when you don't deal with them, then it makes it really hard and awkward to release them at all. In 2022, I was reading this. I had wrote this down. There was a study that was published in a magazine called Emotion that found that people that suppress emotions habitually experience 85% higher rates of anxiety, depression, chronic stress. It is linked to higher blood pressure, poor immune response, and 15 years shorter life expectancy.
Oh,
watch out. Tomorrow I'm saying it all. Just going to throw it all
Maybe
out.
we need like a corner of the office where it could just be the venting corner. You can just let it all out.
So I guess we really need to talk about that because, when you say things like, you're trying to be low maintenance, right? Like, when you were saying with your sister and everything, because there were other needs in the household that had to be met, you're actually emotionally constipated.
So how do we deal with that? Is there emotional X-lax?
Well, there will be tomorrow because now that we're dealing with, we're just gonna spew it all out tomorrow. But the kicker of everything is that most of us aren't repressing one emotion, right? So we were saying that like year after year after year and day after day after day, like if you just keep throwing it all down, you've got like this whole cocktail of feelings that you're not dealing with. And so for me, this is going to shock you. It will sometimes come out as passive aggressiveness. Yeah, I'm fine. I'll just go in and do the dishes. I only work 12 hours.
Yes. Are you watching my household?
Well, that's my household. So I feel like I should bring it up first. And passive aggressiveness is not good. It absolutely confuses people. It really does. We, Chantal and I, without naming any names, we do have a person in our life that is in our life some. Now, all of you are going to see if it's you. I know all of you are going to be like, wait, I know both of you. But, you know, we do have someone in our life that, you know, we deal with from time to time that will, you know, put these zingers out there. And we're both like, is that funny? Or is that like a backhanded, like you're just expecting too much from me? Like, it's really interesting, but it leads to that. And then you put people in these situations that they're like, I don't even know what to do with that. And with me, I apologize a lot to my staff because I think when I continue saying I'm fine, and I'm not really fine, you can feel it in the air. You feel it in my energy. My energy is completely off. I suck everything out of the room. I'm irritable and I'm like, everything's fine. And everybody's like, but it's not fine. Like, you're completely lying to our faces. Nothing is fine because, you know, you don't know how to deal with it. And then there's just, you know, the full-on breakdowns, which is happening today with Krista Jones, where the littlest thing can completely set you off. And honestly, it completely derails your entire day. I have sat here for most of the day with like 28 things to do. And Chantel has come in here quite a bit. Thank you, Chantel. And she's like, all right, so what do we have to do? And I go, I can't even write the list. Like, I can't even give you the list of what needs to be done because there's just so much going on. And I'm just going to give you a fun brain fact. Are you ready for it? I can't even say this word. It's called I'm probably going to say this wrong. The amygdala. It is our brain's fear center.
Amygdala.
Dang it. I wasn't even close.
Thanks, biology class.
Amygdala. The amygdala, which is the brain's fear center, lights up even more when our emotions are suppressed. So we should be glowing as human beings. But that's how I think I deal with the I'm fine movement. I really do have a t-shirt. I said that in the introduction. I have it in a couple colors. It's very soft. I love it. And I do wear it sometimes just as this crazy, you know, spin-off so that everybody will laugh. But the I'm fine movement is anything but. So we kind of know it was instilled in us, right? And I think it's great that we know now what we should not say to our kids, because we've all even said this probably to our kids, like, oh, suck it up. Or my dad. Oh, my poor dad. He'll not, you know, what are you, a crybaby? I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 4. And I'm a girl and I'm very sensitive. I'm Sagittarius. I don't know. Like, yes, I am a crybaby. I'm 4. I'm 4.
I just want to go back and give 4-year-old Krista a hug.
But it is something that is challenging for many of us, if not all of us, at least one season in their life. And you said you do that a lot at home.
I really do. Like, I get very annoyed when things don't get done to my standards. You know, like, I don't like to go home to dishes in the sink. And, you know, I'm not shaming my husband. He's the one who gets the kids ready in the morning and puts them on the bus. So, like, I shouldn't get so bothered by it. But I usually don't say anything. But then it happens and more and more and more and more. And then it builds up. And then I just, and I lose it.
Right.
And he's like, where is this coming from? I'm like, well, this day there was a sock here and there was a dish this day. And he's like, why didn't you tell me that day? And I'm like, because I was trying not to be a jerk.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. And that is true. You're trying not to be a jerk.
And then I'm a really big jerk.
Right. Because you're not really forgetting about the sock from 2 weeks ago, which, by the way, your husband forgot about because You didn't bring it up.
He didn't even know it was there.
He didn't even know it was there.
No.
But what it is it's this whole culmination of all this stuff that is going on, and we're just not being honest. And that, if I'm being honest, is something I fear the most. I am going to look like a jerk. I am going to look like a nitpicker.
Yes.
And I really don't say a lot because my husband, who will also listen to this, I hope you do, Christian Jones, like he'll say that. He'll be like, oh my gosh, stop nagging me about every little thing. So then I won't say anything. And then 3 weeks later, like I'm not speaking to him and he has no idea why, because I am not fine. I am not fine.
See,
but I don't want to
you
look like a
can't-
jerk.
You can't have it both ways. You're either a nitpicker or you're exploding.
Right.
I'd rather be a nitpicker.
I think I want to be a nitpicker with you. I think I'm going to start today.
Because like I feel like those are just tiny little things, tiny little blips, as opposed to like that giant mountain of explosion.
Right. Which honestly then makes you look irrational.
Yes.
Right? And you're not irrational, but you're not expressing what is going on when it's going on. So when this mountain happens, the person that you are just throwing up on is like, you are out of your mind crazy.
100%.
And you're not, but
No.
you just have not dealt with what is going on because I think we fear that honesty is going to lead to conflict. But if we withhold it for us, I think it leads to resentment.
Yes. I couldn't have said that better.
Well, then I'm glad I said it for you, friend.
Thank you for your knowledge.
But what are we going to do about it? Like saying how we actually feel. I mean, we know that it doesn't make us mean, but for me, I need to be liked. And I need to be liked by every single group in society, right? I ride the fence on almost everything that I do. I ride the fence because I can see things politically from all sides of the aisle. I ride the fence because I'm an empath. So now I feel that like I'm in the middle of whatever you have going on. So you know what I mean? And I think that I'm really afraid of you not liking me.
I understand that. But I've started to come to this point in my life where I don't care.
And I love that for you. But I don't know that we all are there.
I don't think so either.
And I think that's great because I don't think that means that you're callous and you're cold-hearted. I think that means that, you know, as we are talking about in all these podcasts, you're protecting, you know, your peace. You're protecting what you truly believe, and you are just expressing your feelings. But I don't know that we've all arrived. I have not arrived there yet. I've gotten better, but I am still really worried that what I am saying to you is potentially going to make you not like me anymore. So for me to say I'm fine, it really just alleviates all of that.
But, you know, this whole podcast is based on the premise of living authentically.
100%.
And you're really, you know, for me, it's if you don't like who I am and the authentic real me, then, you know, bye.
Right. And for me, I'm thinking, you don't really want me to bog you down with, you know, my child and her text all night. And, you know, nobody really wants to hear, like, I internalize that. And I think nobody really wants to hear about that. And to a certain extent, that is true. We all know people in our lives that do nothing but complain. But then I think there's those of us on the absolute opposite side of that, you know, do nothing but, you know, try to paint a picture that isn't, you know, even realistic. So I think when I'm saying I'm fine, I'm like, you know, my staff has enough going on. My friends have enough going on. Nobody really wants to hear that, you know, I didn't sleep last night because they didn't sleep last night. So I think there's a lot of that. And, you know, I don't want to be a jerk.
Yeah, but it's also healthy to let it out. And you might find that you can commiserate with somebody. And maybe somebody needs you to open that door. That, you know, if you start talking about not being fine and I'm having issues with this, they might say, oh my gosh, me too. You know?
100%. Listen, I agree with everything you're saying. That's why we're doing the podcast. So I'm telling all of you listening, I am working on my authenticity. And it is not easy. Clear is kind. Unclear is unkind. Dr. Brené Brown. So being clear with somebody is actually being kind. It's not hurting their feelings. When you are unclear and you leave this gray area, which I will do, right? Like if I'm trying not to be a control freak in the kitchen, but I know it's not going to work well the way that you want to do something, right? I will try to just be a little bit unclear, like, well, yeah, you could do it that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not kind of me, because then you're going to do it the way that you think is right, because I haven't expressed what really needs to be done. And then now I am getting resentment because you're not doing it the way I know you should be doing it. And so, right, I think a lot of us struggle with all of this stuff, which all boils down to you're supposed to let everybody think that you're fine all the time, and the social media and all of that going on. It boils down to you're supposed to be a nice person. So by saying you're fine or not being honest with your true feelings, you're burdening others or you're not being nice to them. But I thought that was a really interesting sentence. 2 sentences. Clear is kind and unclear is being unkind.
Yeah.
Because people then don't really know what's going on with you.
Yeah. And somebody could see that as being deceitful, or I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. But, I'd rather you be blunt with me and be honest with me and say, you know what, Chantel, I'm having a really terrible day and I'm going to go home. Yeah. I'd rather you say that than sit here and stew in whatever it is you're feeling or experiencing. And,
100%. And like, I think what I've tried to do now is I'm saying, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I think you heard that from me a few times today. Like I need an hour. And you were like, okay. Like, so to me, I was like, I need an hour. I need to reframe it. And then of course, 17 people walked in. So I haven't reframed it yet, Chantal, but I'm still working on that. 1 more hour. And then, yeah. But, I think sometimes we just have to say, and no, you know what? I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm okay. But, I just need some time. Like, we don't necessarily need to also throw it all up to people if we don't want to. But sometimes it's okay to say, I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm a little bit off today. I'm going to be okay. But, I'm just a little bit off, because you're also giving somebody like a heads up.
Yeah.
That like, if you're feeling an energy from me, which if you're anywhere in the Krista Jones realm, you will know if that energy like is off. You'll absolutely know it. It's thick as thieves. It's really thick. So I'm trying to like now not even give that energy. I'm trying to say, I'm going to, go over here for a minute, and then it's all going to be good. And then it's really like, okay, so how do we start giving ourselves, right, the emotional vocabulary that we need so that, it's not awkward. So maybe like instead of saying I'm fine, like, we're saying I'm a little bit stretched thin today. But I'm here. I'm going to figure it out. Or instead of saying like, whatever, right? Like if if somebody in the kitchen was like, oh, I'd rather do it this way, I would never say whatever. But I would say something like, well, I mean, all right, whatever. If that's how you, think it would go. Like maybe you could say, that I don't think that is the best option. And here's why, right?
Yeah. From past experience, we found that this was the best route to go.
Right. So there is this wheel that you can go to. You can Google it. It is called the feelings. So it's with an S at the end of it, the feelings wheel. And if you Google it, like it comes right up. It's, you can actually buy it. And it's like, I don't know, $10 or $12 or something, but it gives you like all of this really interesting feedback on like what's going on with you and how you need to process it. I don't even know, Chantal, if I can like show you this thing, but like it's huge. Like this is what it looks like.
Oh, that's a lot of feelings.
It's in all these beautiful categories, right? And then it kind of like if you say, I'm feeling fearful, right? Like fearful has a million different categories. So if you're overwhelmed, if you're stressed, if you're worried, if you're weak, that's all under this fearful category. So what it does is I think it's like 6, 7 categories. Fearful, bad, surprised, happy, sad, angry, disgusted. But out of these 6, 7 categories, there's a million emotions in them. So what this wheel does is any of this you're feeling, it really gets down to the crux of it. And it says where you're actually feeling sad, you're actually fearing something, right? Like you're scared of something. So it's really like a cool thing. Like I was playing around with it the other night. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really good. Because if you can simplify it and say, all right, here are the emotions. Here is one of the 6, 7 things that I'm feeling. Then it kind of goes into, all right, here's what you can do to get yourself out of it, which I like. And it's saying you're really not fine about 60 to 65% of the time.
Oof. That's a lot.
It doesn't mean that you're bad.
No.
But meaning that you're not happy could mean that you're angry, or it could mean that you're melancholy. Like it can mean like all these different things. It just means that you're not always fine, which I thought was also interesting. And then we have to talk about like our body talk too, because when we're not fine, people can see that, right? Your jaw's clenched.
My face does not lie. I have one of those faces.
I do too.
Yes. It's an open book.
It is an open book. Mm-hmm. It's your body language. So if you are that open book, which we both know we are, then you probably shouldn't even lie. Like, just don't even vocalize that you're okay, because people can see you're really not okay.
Yeah, there's a meme or a reel that goes around, and it's David Rose from the show Schitt's Creek, and my husband's like, "That's your face, and you're trying to tell me you're okay."
Like the David ew, yes. Like his ew face.
He's like, "You're not okay. You're David Rose.
Check your
right
face.
Now. Yeah,
check your face.
Yes."
And sometimes, your body, like if you're feeling something in your body, like you should listen to that before, because sometimes you don't really even know it. But you're a little bit stressed out. Like I said, you're clenching, like whatever it is you're doing, your body's not going to lie to you. Mm-hmm. So if your body's having a reaction as somebody's trying to talk to you and you're trying to convince them that you're fine, don't even say you're fine. You can be like, I'm really on edge right now. I need to walk away to my pity party corner. That's what I need to do. But I think it's important that we also realize that you're not weak for having feelings. A lot of time, I think we should really talk about cultures, men. Like in a lot of different scenarios, you are meant to feel that you don't show your emotions because it makes you weak. Boys are always told, oh, suck it up, be a man. I mean, my dad did say that to me as a female, but in most cases, that's kind of what, you shouldn't cry. You're a boy, or, culturally in different cultures, you don't express your emotions. You don't talk to anybody about your feelings. You don't do any of that. So there's a lot of cultural and gender barriers that we all need to break through to realize that we're all humans. And that's what we have in common. So we're all going to experience emotion, and all of us should be able to healthfully get those emotions out.
Yeah. It's so important to know that your feelings are valid.
Yeah. And that you're not too much.
No.
Right? You're not too much when you express them, and you're not broken just because you're expressing an emotion that doesn't go with today's society over and over again with us talking about our authentic self. We over and over again talk about social media and how on social media everything looks like it's amazing, and it cannot be amazing all of the time. So now we're, feeling this extra pressure in the social media world to make everybody think we're fine even when we're not. So it's not, listen, just don't post at all then. Don't post something that's not true. If you're having a cruddy day, then maybe don't post. You don't have to throw it all up on Facebook, because another thing that I do not like are the cliffhangers when you're like, for those of you that have forsaken me today, what an awful day. It was the worst day of my life. I am unfriending all of you unless you say how you met me. I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't do that either. So you don't have to throw it up on social media, but you don't have to post something fake about how wonderful your day went if it didn't go wonderful.
Yeah. Not every day is perfect. We're all human.
65% of them are not perfect.
65.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. And if you're a mom, I bet that number's even higher.
Well, now that we're talking about moms, yes. And we have to really encourage our little ones to be honest. And, we say it in almost every episode, us saying that we're okay when we're not okay, our kids see that and they know we're not okay. And so they're now learning that burying the truth is, what we're supposed to do. And it's not healthy, and we shouldn't be doing it.
No. And, I feel like kids have been through a lot, like these kids that have come through COVID. And my little one is exceptionally sensitive, and she's also very intuitive, and she's very empathetic. And, we work a lot on talking about our feelings because she gets really, really big feelings. And so we spend a lot of time talking about that and letting her get them out. And you can see this weight off of her tiny shoulders when you just give her that time and say, what are you feeling right now? Instead of going, knock it off, it's bedtime. What are you feeling? And why are you feeling that way? And sometimes her answer is, I don't know what I'm feeling. And I have to say, it's okay to not know what the word is for what you're feeling.
Sure.
But it's important that you let it out. You can tell me, I'm feeling all kinds of ways right now.
And it's important for them to see us letting it out.
Yeah.
It's important that they see what sad looks like, and that it's okay to be that, and mad, and a million other emotions. And, you shouldn't be embarrassed of any of those feelings, because they're really, our young generation is looking to us. They have had a lot go on in their little lives. COVID, you were just starting school when all of that happened. Mine were just ending high school when all of that was happening. Like, all of these things, they're not fine, and neither are we. So in order for us to expect our children to be as healthy as they can mentally, we also have to show them healthy ways to release it as well, which means I'm probably going to go home and burn the shirts.
Don't burn them.
All right. But I won't wear them as often.
Just wear them to CrossFit.
Where you're really hoping you can just get through the class and everything's going to be fine. Here's the deal though. Listen, so you're allowed to be mad, and you're allowed to feel things and feel them really deeply. And you're allowed, and you should, say I'm not okay when you're not okay, without having to do what Krista Jones does and follow it by a joke or giving somebody a casserole. Because that's really how I handle it. The world doesn't need a polite version of you. They need the real version of you, which of course is messy and cries in parking lots sometimes. But it shows that you got a beautiful heart, and a heart that is wide open, and it makes people feel comfortable to let you know their struggles too. So the next time somebody asks you how you are, I just dare you to say one actual true thing, even if it's just a part of a thing that may not be going well. Just say it. Go forth and unmask, my friend. And remember, we want you to be kind to yourself and to each other, and to check us out. Ways that you can volunteer, ways that you can give, and do so much more at sparrowsnestcharity.org.